didn't have to explain it.
Ah.
I took up when I took off my phone and I put it on, one of the first messages I got was from my son. And he basically said, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. And it doesn't matter what the outcome is, you are a winner. My daughter, I picked up my
Awesome.
tablet. She's like, Mommy, I know you lost. Don't feel down, but you'll try again. Don't worry. I'll be there for you. And so I didn't
Oh
have to
my
explain
God.
anything.
Praise
They were
God.
like, but
They prepare for the healing.
I think with my daughter, she might be a little bit happy in the sense that, okay, now I get back my mommy, because she always felt like, like this politics thing take her mommy away and I didn't have time and whatnot. So I think part of us like, okay, well, she lose now, so she could be home. She doesn't have to go to Trinidad and I don't have to, but that's okay because I can understand her wanting to be selfish because she's never had to share me before. She's never had to
Mm.
share me, because me and her father broke up when she was very, very young. So it's not like if anybody else was in my life that she felt that she had to compete for my attention with.
I know.
So that when I got involved in this was the first thing that took me away from home because my life was basically um, work and home and her, you know. So she kind of had to mature during the time with me not being physically around. But that's
Yes.
where her brother came in such a huge way, and my son really stepped up and really was able, along with my parents, to provide that shielding for her, and even in times that she felt she didn't understand why, my son would be like, well, Gil, this is what mommy's doing and whatever, and it's only for a time, and don't worry, she's always gonna be mommy,
Yes.
so her brother really stepped up and really, protected her because I'm fiercely protective of my children, and I'm just in awe of the blessings that have been bestowed upon me in the form of my children, in the form of my parents, that they were raised so resiliently, so mature and so intelligent and so I know that I'm already looking at the long road,
Well, we're getting ready.
2025.
We're getting ready to ask you. We're getting ready to ask you about that. What the next question
Right.
is, boy? Yes. Well, we give praise and thanks to Almighty God for keeping your children, keeping them at peace, keep their intellectual faculty in order and in place. That you get them back right now. You didn't lose them because your mother had them, and
No,
once your mama have your back, I
they
know what
safe,
mama.
they
That's
safe.
right. They're safe.
Yes.
So peace. So Tashia, you just expertly described the seduction of holding office, celebrity, and even royalty. How can the people remind their elective officials that they were actually elected to serve the people? We're gonna go fast on that because I don't really want to stress too much on stuff because I don't know how people in Tobago really analyzing a politician. We see them perform. We see them stop. I know it's important, but I'm just saying that we watch this same party perform for 16 years in our little island Tobago, and we haven't been anywhere.
In answer to this question, I'll say this, right? We have to practice a level of discernment that I'm not sure we're at this stage to be able to practice. Because I don't think we judge individuals who have offered themselves up for office on their ability to actually be servant leaders. So that we get carried away with the lights and the camera and the action and people on billboards and looking good and reading from scripted speeches. But we don't elect servants. Because if you elect a servant leader, you got to remind them that they're there to serve because they will
Amen.
simply do just that. they will do what is their natural inclination to do. And they say when a man shows you who he is the first time, to
Believe.
believe him. So that if you elect somebody, if all they can do is throw up smoke screen and mirrors and deflect and pose, then that's what you're gonna get. You can't expect to get milk from a donkey. It's just not gonna happen. No matter how much you scream cow at a donkey, it will never transform into a cow. It can't give you milk. So that for me, I've always, before I entered, this, I was always hoping that at some point in time I would see more good people get involved on that side, and the party would transform and they would just start doing what they say they would do. And as the years went by, less and less good people got involved as far as I could see, and more people who were there for themselves got involved. So that when you have people vying for positions and the pickings are slim in terms of your options, somebody's going to win. And most oftentimes, the person that wins is the person who doesn't care for the people. So that in a case now where we have elected persons who have demonstrated to us that they're not too interested in serving and doing what service means, then for us, the people, we have to look at our low-hanging fruits. What are the things we can do for ourselves? What are the things that we could get done in our spaces to empower ourselves and empower each other outside of depending on politics? And that is one of the things that we actually were campaigning on, the fact that we want to introduce a community bottom-up approach to governance. We want to get rid of the absolute leader type stuff and the lording or making lords out of your secretaries and your assistant secretaries and the politicians, because they are supposed to be servants of the people. If the communities have the resources and the communities have the power to be able to manage their affairs, to be able to lead their own development, to be able to empower the persons who live in these communities, then there'll be less and less need for politicians. There'll be less and less opportunities for corruption, because now you have devolved power out of the hands of the few and empowered the many. And that is the Tobago I want to live in, where everybody has the power to chart their own destiny. So that you don't have to know a politician personally to get through with a work. You don't have to know some supervisor some way to get an interview. You don't have to know somebody to get a contract. You don't have to do these things, because there's a fair and level playing field for everybody. Once you can do the work, there's work for you to do. Once you're willing to produce, there are things for you to do. Once you're willing to progress a community, there are things that can happen. There's a space for you. There's a space for your voice. And if people are not afraid of an empowered people and an empowered Tobago, if you did the work, then you don't have to campaign. You don't have to campaign, because your work would speak for itself. People would simply go to the polls and elect you, because they know that man was a worker, or that lady, she really worked hard. So you don't have to be no platform cussing the other side, and the other side didn't have a chance to even be where you are at. You'd be able to speak about what your achievements are. You'd be able to speak about how many people you empowered. You'd be able to speak about how much the community has advanced under your stewardship. You'd be able to say that we were at point A today, we're now at point P, and that if you continue to support me, I'll take us from P to Z. But if you can't speak about that, then why am I giving you the opportunity to fail again? Doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't make sense to me. Well done. Perfect. Perfect. My goodness. Tashia, the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain just announces a flight to evacuate U.S. citizens from TNT next week. Any word on when Tobagonians stranded abroad would be brought home?
Well, I have not heard anything publicly. One and two persons who are stranded did reach out to me during the campaign to indicate their personal situations. One lady in particular, she went out for medical reasons before the borders were closed. And she has had trouble getting through to get an exemption for how much weeks, could be into months now, to come back home. And even if she's granted the exemption, getting a flight to come back home is near to impossible because flights are not operating directly into the country. She'll probably have to hop from island to island and hope, she can get in. Another young man, I understand, he was in England he came from India and he had to go to England. He was in England for a while. And the only reason he got home was because his company chartered a flight to bring him home. And he can't even come home to Tobago just yet. And he had to come out of Mexico. The bottom line is this. I'm not seeing any of our elected officials advocating for our citizens who are stranded abroad to come home. And I don't know what are the numbers, but I think that the numbers should be few in terms of less than 100. So if it is that we have persons who had legitimate business outside and who want to come home and have the means to come home, why are we denying the opportunity for our nationals to come home? And I think that we should take a special interest in our Tobago brothers and sisters, because our situation, some person's situation, is very much dire. The reason why they are abroad is because some of the services that they went to access are not available on the island, and that is the reality. So why should they pay the price for something that is outside of their control? So that I would I would love to see our chief secretary or whoever it is in charge, whoever it is has the ears of whomever, for us to make some kind of arrangement, see what we can do. I mean, we have chartered flights to places and the flights went and came back empty. And we spent millions of dollars for that. So I don't think we should have an issue spending some money to bring our nationals home. We have wasted money on far more trivial matters in the past. And we have evidence of that. In fact, I have some money still missing to this day. We can't even account for it. So if we could let money disappear in thin air, I think we can more than find some money to get our nationals home and see if we can lend that hand and lend that assistance to us. I'm waiting just like everybody else.
But we have our own airline. We don't have to charter.
Well, you see, the thing is that I don't even think Tobago has its own airline. Yes, Tobago has a share. But when you look at how that airline behaves on the domestic
Trinidad and
air
Tobago.
bridge. No, and I'm telling you, the way that they treat that domestic air bridge, because Tobago is never a priority. Tobago is not looked at as a priority destination. So that when you look at how we are treated as Tobagonians, sometimes you go right Trinidad, you can't get a flight to come up, you're stranded in Trinidad. You have to sleep on the airport, you have to sleep on the port. So if we are within our own country and being treated as refugees in our own country, far less for somebody who on the outside, I could only hope and pray at this point, but I hope that some kind of overtures are being made at the highest levels. If these persons have reached out to our elected officials and whoever's looking on the outside from Tobago who wants to come, I would encourage you. All of our elected officials have Facebook pages. They have public days. They have phone numbers. Pick up the phone and call. Send an emails. Reach out via Facebook. Let them know you want to come home. See what they can use their good office to do, because that's what you elect them to do, represent you. That's what you've elected them to do. So let them get to work in terms of representing you.
So can you tell our viewers and all those who does Mako, my show, I know they're doing, but we have airlines, we have jets.
We do.
And if we have jets, we don't have to charter. We have Caribbean Airlines. I wonder how much of Caribbean Airlines Trinidad really owns. How much? Are we the majority shareholders? These are the things that we don't know as citizens. We don't know if we completely own Caribbean Airlines. Because number one, you didn't name it Trinidad Airways. You name it Caribbean.
Right.
So maybe we are shareholders. We don't know.
Right.
How many jets do we have? We don't know. How many pilots that we have in Trinidad and Tobago? So Jamaica have ownership to Caribbean Airlines. People leave in America and go to Jamaica. My pastor, I have a pastor that was on my show, Pastor Wendy Michelle Lewis. Right now, she left America and she is in Jamaica. That's what she traveled.
Right.
She gone to rest. She gone for
Right.
some function. But we have people living in, we have people in
Right.
America stranded, and we own Caribbean Airlines, but we can't bring them home. I don't repeat
Or we
some
choose
things.
not to.
We choose
I
not
don't think
to.
it's a can't.
I receive a message that our prime minister is not in Trinidad right now. That's what someone told me earlier in the week there. And he has traveled out via some private airline and he's not in the country. I can't repeat it.
Interesting.
So I
Right.
would say alleged, because I
It's
could have
alleged.
spoken it before, but I did not.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he has COVID. I don't know. Maybe he's quarantined as how you were quarantined. We don't know. But we have more questions to come. But I want to ask you something right now. There is a special news reporter in Tobago. And she has done and is still doing a lot of mischief, especially against PDP and PDP candidates. Her name is Liz Williams. I ain't here talking around any bush. But if you can't answer the question, please, you could avoid it. But my question is to you. Did she treated you fairly as a young Tobagonian who's trying to save the people of Tobago?
So the easy answer to that question is I think that there was a concerted attempt to amplify the negative versus reporting the positive. Because if I had to look at persons' Facebook posts and persons what they put out from our platforms, I saw nothing of the positive that we spoke about. I saw nothing of the issues that we spoke about. I saw nothing of the critical matters that warranted the attention of the Tobago population highlighted. What I saw highlighted was the things that could have been twisted to create a commerce or to create a bacchanal. And on the flip side of that, because if we're talking about reporting on one side, the expectation is that you would report on what the other side is doing and saying. There was nothing that was reported about the other side, as if everything they were talking about was unicorns and ice cream, and we know better. So whether their reporting was biased on purpose, by design or by default, I can't say. I can't say what the intention was, but as an outside observer, I saw the disparity. So in the posturing, because the public posturing would be, how are you and what do you think and these kinds of things. And I would answer because, I mean, it's just part of the thing. I would answer. But if it was me, Tashia Grace Burris, as a person, I would not give certain people the time of my day, because if you show me who you are, I take you at face value, and that's it. That's it with me. So I would only hope that persons who are in the media fraternity understand that their role is not to be bought and paid for. Their role is not to create confusion in an atmosphere or use your position or abuse your position as someone within the media fraternity to create confusion, but rather your role is to enlighten, to empower, to educate. And if you're not educating, then you're a tabloid. If you're not enlightening, then your reporting is supposed to be in the rubbish, right? So I can't say who was paid to do what. I have friends who are in the media fraternity. I have the utmost respect for them because they call a spade a spade. And anybody who can call a spade, I can deal with that person. But people who have their agenda, if you have your agenda.
So you could deal with me.
I
Because
can
I
deal with
call a
you,
spade.
Mama.
I do
any
call a
day,
spade.
any day.
Continue. Are you done with
Yeah,
the question that I asked?
so I'm not going to, because you know they're quick to send lawyer letter for you and whatnot. And I
Come
see
on.
Morton put up a comment, gossiping versus reporting, and he's correct.
Yep.
Some people, they will do anything to remain popular. They would do anything to be the first to report something. They live off of the likes and the comments and
Views.
the views. But what at the end of the day, knowing that you did the best job that you could, that you can hold your head high and know that you upheld the standards of your profession. So that if you don't have standards for yourself, then it shows in everything.
Propaganda instead of professionalism. That's the answer.
Yep.
You don't trend on propaganda. You don't bring certain news to destroy somebody's life and the campaign 2 and 3 days just before an election. They know exactly what they're doing. And for that, we're going to lay them right where they need to go. And our God
Yes.
Jehovah, I say God
We'll deal with
Jehovah
them.
will deal with them
We'll deal
accordingly.
with them. Mm-hmm.
Tashia, do you envision yourself running for elected office in the future? I have one too. Would you ever run for the Tobago House of Assembly election?
Would I?
We have lost Tashia again, I believe. Tashia, can you exit and come back? Thank you. David Ramjan, hi, how are you? You saying that too much editor, editorializing instead of simple reporting? Yes. We don't have enough critical thinkers considering critical issues and voting. That was from Joanne Cummings. David Ramjan is saying we need the facts, not your opinion of the facts. Jamelia Jacobson is saying, Ali G, they believe in separation, confusion, and mix up. Mix up, mix up, mix up. Cassandra Hernandez is saying, yes, they are Facebook bullies. Exactly. Martin Lindstrom is saying, you see the quality of internet we have in Tobago, not reliable enough for 2020. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yes.
Internet is not so good.
Patchy, patchy.
But I didn't hear your question. What did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you say?
The question is, do you envision yourself running for election office in the future?
Right. So I talked to God, and God sent me in this election. He sent me, I didn't send myself. And I haven't had a conversation with him just yet about the future.
Oh.
So I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say yes because that might not be his will for my life. I believe everything happens for a reason. For one, and over the next couple of days, weeks, months, years, I would not know the impact that my run has had on people, but certainly I've been told that people are now awakened, they're more educated. People are now excited to serve, to come on board, and that has been a result of me going out there, putting myself out there, and in the face of everything that was thrown at me, standing strong and resilient and not being broken. And that has given a lot of people hope. I hear the word hope a lot. so that in the later half of the campaign, one of the phrases that I would use is stay the course, because I mean, God told me that the promised land is right there, but we still have some work to do to get there. But don't be afraid. Don't turn back. Don't go back to where you were before. You're heading down the road. Stay the course. You're seeing it in front of you. Stay the course. This is not for you. This is for your children and your generations to come. Stay the course. You started this journey. It's gonna get hard, but stay the course. You're going to meet obstacles. Stay the course. That is what I try to let people know, because I felt that my role, aside from educating, was to empower and to motivate people, so that if it is God tells me, I need you to continue this fight. I've given my life over to him. So whatever he says for me to do, I'm going to do. I believe, for one, I mean, we have an election coming up, that this is the time for person
internet again,
who now finding their voice and are becoming brave now. Yeah, I think that this is a chance that people should get to step out and serve in their communities. And I'll be happy to support anybody who wants to do that. I'll be happy to provide guidance and support, and because we have a war to win. We have a war to win.
A war.
So whatever is in this for me, in terms of if the Lord sees it fit that I should run again, if it is that the party thinks that I should, it's more than one thing has to go into the decision. It's not just how I feel personally, but it's more than one. For me, I go wherever God tells me to go. I know that he has placed me in this to be of service to people, and that is what I would continue to do. And if that leads me down the road of putting myself up for representational politics again, then Tobago will see me again. The world will see me again. But I will continue the journey that I've started. I will continue to work in the communities. I will continue to bring hope to people. I will continue to lend my voice to issues, because the one thing that this thing has done for me is made me brave. I am not afraid to take them on. Do your worst. Do your worst. I will be here. And trust me, your worst ain't nothing, because they threw 1,000 things at me. They know, and I know. So let me meet head on now. Let me clash. Yeah? So I will continue to be that sword and that shield for my people, as long as I'm called to be that.
Can I ask management to give us a 60-second break, please? Thank you. Just 60 seconds.
You're watching Live with Mama Coco, a current affairs and lifestyle program that touches on what matters to you. Know someone who would benefit from watching this live? Go ahead and share it. Know someone who would be a great guest for Live with Mama Coco? Go onto our booking page to enter their contact information or call 702-577-0848 to talk to a member of our team. Want to take a piece of the show with you? Then don't forget to check out Mama Coco's Life and Style Shop, where you can purchase copies of Mama Coco's book, Unbreakable Spirit, or get your emblazoned apparel with some of Mama Coco's favorite sayings and one-of-a-kind artwork. Live with Mama Coco is produced and distributed by Girl Powered Success and Survival International.
Hey, we are back. And I think we are back with almost our final question. Yes. Can I get the question? As we close, my dear, what is your hope for the future of the progressive democratic patriots? Yes, Avanel, my goddaughter, she said exactly. We need to step up. We game plan, Tashia. Yes, gotta step up something. Steaming cocoa is steaming cocoa or cocoa. Cocoa. I am already serving in my community. We are in the listing stage. The listing stages. John Joey said, never go back to that war without your armor against. Or again, arm up, girl, arm up. Hallelujah. Jamila Jacobson is saying motivation and elevation is the key. If one person is educated from your representation for changes, then your job is accomplished. Steaming Coco saying, I feel they are reporting the light. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, girl.
Perfect.
Our life is going places. Because this life was not ordained by a political party or political partisan. Okay? This is Mama Coco life and style. So can we get the other question, please? Ramjan is saying you have 5 years to play your ground game. 2025 is just now. Connect with the people now to build your credibility over the next 4 years. Your campaign has only just begun. How many votes did you get?
I got 4,501 votes.
That is how many people believed in you.
Plenty.
And that's a lot more than even the leader of your party got when he ran the first time. So as we close, what is your...
The first time,
Yes, what is your hope for the future of the progressive democratic patriots?
Well, my hope is that we become the party of choice, and not just party, but people understand that we are just the vehicle that is leading our movement. And this movement speaks to progress. It speaks to sustainability. It speaks to a transformation of Tobago and Tobago people, the way we think, the way we do things. We have to bring about a renaissance of creativity and innovation in the Tobago space. And the vehicle that we have been hitching our fortunes to for the last 20 years cannot lead us into the next 20 years. That's the reality. And I'm calling a spade a spade. When a vehicle is old and it's broken down and you can no longer switch out the parts, you have to replace it. You have to upgrade. You have to choose better, choose differently. You have to choose something that is going to take you into the future. We are a young party. We are full of some of the best and brightest minds that Tobago has to offer. We have room for anybody who wants to see this island progress. And that is why we talk about to rock and come in. That's why we talk about this coalition of the competent and the willing. We are not looking at party here. We are looking at a Tobago-centric awakening that would lead us into the future. The PDP is just the vehicle. But Tobago has to understand, we have to value ourselves. We have to start valuing ourselves. We have to understand that Tobago is what brings a lot to the table in terms of the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, that the waters that surround Tobago is responsible for the bulk of our oil and gas reserves that we have right now, that we can lead the future in terms of carrying this country in the way that it needs to go. We can be the example. We can have first world healthcare systems. We can have first world education systems. We could have top class sporting facilities, but it starts with the people. It starts with us recognizing that we deserve more than we've been getting for the last 20 years. And what we've been getting for the last 20 years cannot carry us into the future. That we deserve more. We deserve leaders who want to remain accountable. We deserve leaders who are going to be the best kind of representatives and the best kind of leaders that this island needs. And that we need these people to ensure that Tobago gets a fair share of what is due to Tobago. And you cannot have that if persons are just content to go and sit in offices and hold positions and draw pay and do nothing, and the people are suffering. We cannot continue down that road.
Well said, well said, well said. There was another portion to the question, to the question before, and I think we're gonna bring it. You know, I somehow I just try to keep ourselves balanced and to keep our interviewers. Yes, yes, yes. So can you share your 3 proudest moments from your campaign?
Wow.
Did we get that question
proudest
before?
Moment.
No. Yeah, no. The 3 proudest moments.
Well, no, we didn't. We didn't have this question. 3 proudest moments. If I have to say proud moment, giving a speech in front of the house that I spent the later half of my growing up years living in, which is the house in Susselands that my father built. We had a spot meeting on the corner right there. And I stood in front of my house and I was telling persons about the story of how my father built that house, that he purchased the land for $7,000 a lot. When we moved there, the place was bushy, the roads were not paved, there were hardly any street lights. But the persons who started that development, as Susseland, the concept was empowering Tobagonians to be able to buy lands and to build their properties. My father was a young fire officer. My mother stayed home with us. So he was the sole breadwinner. And my father built that house from his labor, his blood, his sweat, his tears. He worked to do that. And that work, and that was my first example of this work ethic that my father has always had. He commits himself to a goal and he achieves it. So saying that and standing in front of that house that my father built, that he built for his wife, he built for his children, that was a proud moment for me. Because I said to them, just as how back in 1991 when my father purchased this land.
And not only children, grandchildren.
Grandchildren, yes, true.
That your mother took care of.
That is true. That is true. When I told the story of that, I said, just like how my father, as a young fire officer in 1991, was given an opportunity to purchase land. And he stayed the course because there were persons who took back their money. They didn't believe that it would come to fruition. And they are ruining that for today. Those same lands that he purchased for $7,000 a lot, you cannot buy a lot of land in that same development for less than $600,000 today.
Yes.
And he and a few persons, the first set of persons who built their houses there, they saw down the road. They saw the vision. They saw what their community would be. The speech that I gave was, we want to afford young people now the same opportunity to purchase lands, to be able to own property, to be able to build their houses, to be able to set down roots, to be able to create their own communities, and to be able to ensure that they can pass on something to their children and their grandchildren. We want to give young people now that same opportunity. So that was one proud moment. Second proud moment was, I think, after my very first speech. That was the day that I was launched, when I was just so scared and so nervous about what I was going to say, how this thing would turn out. I wasn't sure if I was ready, if I was cut out for this. After I said what I said, and I came off this stage. My very young man-child of a son, who's taller than me, came up to me and he towers over me and he gave me a hug. And he told me, Mommy, I am proud of you. And I always felt that as a mother, I should be the one to always protect and motivate and make sure life is perfect for him and do everything I could do, move mountains to make sure that my children are okay. And I never think that one day, I would be in a position where they would make me feel as if they are over me and I'm the child. And in that moment, my son made me feel like if he was protecting me, when he said, Mommy, I'm proud of you. Because he said it from the standpoint of, you're strong, you're resilient, you can do this. I